Thanks to Luke Doherty for requesting this video. And yes, I think it's possible I'll do the other two at some point. For now, Mitchells vs. Machines.
My sweet.
I'm all for customizing quirky logos, and for the Columbia lady showing a little more leg, but this is just a regular piece of pepperoni pizza. The cheeseburger gets eyes and arms, but you can't even throw a few mushrooms on the pizza slice?
Even though I'm glad you didn't count how long these logos were, this still proves that you don't know how to begin videos without criticizing them. Actually, you do though. I send all 4 Hunger Games videos, and you skipped the logos entirely in every one. And since you admit that you like how this particular logo is different, I guess this should count as a Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
Good Get is a great takeoff name of Best Buy. It combines both alliteration, meaning, and exact letter count of each word. But the stop sign has an exceedingly long pull, so my hands are kind of tied here.
I guess remember what I said at the end of the last sin.
What kind of donut shop also sells lottery tickets at a school crossing?
Just did a quick Google, and apparently some donut shops actually do this. And doing that made my mouth water, so I guess thank you for making me crave sweets.
Oh, hey! I bet you're wondering how this sin got here. Well, let me take you back to a few seconds ago when this movie played the "a few days earlier" card. The trend of starting your movie in medias res is so prevalent and annoying now that I have to sin when even good movies do it. We should all be caught up now. Let's see what happens next.
Does this kind of transition happen a lot in movies? Yes. But why exactly is that a bad thing? At least this one didn't have Katie say, "You're probably wondering how I got here." Even Sonic did that, and I like that movie.
This puppet burger spins 360 degrees, but the puppet strings magically untangle just as that spin is completed, so that they are not tangled anymore as the burger continues to dance. And I guess I should spell it out for the puppetry ignorant. If you spin your puppet 360 degrees, all 4 strings get tangled up into one, and you can't articulate the puppet anymore. It's science. Wait, I guess if she carefully turned the T-Cross controller 360 degrees with both hands, this would be possible, but most people would spin the apparatus here, tangling the wire. She's a grade schooler, so I have to wonder how much puppetry training she's had. I think she'd spin it and tangle the wire. So, after much consternation, the sin stands.
You really could have shortened that tangent, dude. Okay, fine, I guess I'm guilty of that sometimes. Forget I said that. But more importantly, why do you think Katie couldn't have practiced this? I think it's pretty safe to say she screwed it up on the first few takes and then got better and better at it. Like when you flub a line and have to re-record it.
Movie refuses to show us any of Spacebutt's origins.
Jeremy points things out on the screen cliche.
Hi, would you like to talk to me about dinosaurs?
No matter how small the town, a kid calling everyone to ask about dinosaurs would definitely get this kid a visit from the cops, if not a restraining order.
I don't think you can give a literal kid a restraining order, dude.
Having 23 tabs open when you aren't actively writing on a sin script.
You really think a 17-year-old teenager would give a crap about that?
After all these years, I'm finally gonna meet my people.
Is that when the narration will stop? Because I'm beginning to wonder if this entire movie is narrated.
Another one of those sins that I tire of pointing out and genuinely wonder how else to reword the same point. You all get why this sin is weird, right? I mean, unless you're a new subscriber, which in that case, watch my other videos, please.
There's a trend in recent, mostly Disney animated movies where the pet is funny just because the pet is stupid, like Hey Hey, or Doug, or Pico. I'm not saying dumb animals aren't funny, but they're kind of repetitive.
This is exactly what I was criticizing you for in the last sin. You understand that things can get repetitive, and yet you still repeat a lot of points. That's exactly why I struggle to write these scripts sometimes, because I don't want to repeat myself.
Also, Katie said she just made this, and it was uploaded on September 19th of 2020. A good 6 months into the global pandemic, and yet there's not a single person in this movie complaining about wearing a mask, or a single person complaining about someone else not wearing a mask. Whatever happened to realism, Hollywood?
According to Wikipedia, this movie has been in development since 2015, and it was originally meant to release in 2020 before the pandemic pushed it back. This means the filmmakers wouldn't have been aware that a worldwide pandemic would happen, and by the time they got close to finishing it, it was too late to change anything. And besides, 2020 also didn't have robots like this movie does, so why didn't you apply the same logic to that?
Howdy, y'all.
I know,
I'm Mark
but you're
Bowman,
just smearing it.
founder and CEO of PAL Labs.
Expositional video ads. What if the Mitchells had paid for PAL Video Premium? How would we ever know what was going on then?
Yeah, but I'm sure you're secretly glad about this, because otherwise, you'd be asking what the heck PAL is and where the giant robot apocalypse came from.
Bathed in ghoulish blue light.
You see, it's funny because they're all buried in their phones, paying him no attention, and this is the first time anyone has ever made this joke.
Same thing I say whenever you bring up the Apple a-hole gag.
How about we put our phones down and we can make 10 seconds of unobstructed family eye contact?
I mean, you already have a sign above the door that says no screens at the dinner table. So how about you just start enforcing the rules you've already set? Consistency is the foundation of good parenting, Rick.
Jeremy thinks kids listen to the signs.
I just wonder, do you really think you can make a living with this stuff?
Look, this movie is hilarious and creative, but it's also super tropey. At its skeleton, this is pretty much the same as every kid is misunderstood by a parent who thinks that they should do something more practical movie recipe we've seen before, but with a wacky robot apocalypse glaze on it to try and sweeten the experience.
You're right, this story isn't exactly new. I mean, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs did the same thing, and that was also Sony. But Rick isn't the only person with an arc. Katie also has a bad viewpoint of her dad, and she ultimately comes to understand that he does try his best to make her happy, even if he doesn't do a good job at it sometimes. It's a little more complex than what you're making it out to be.
Now Dad is springing an unwanted family road trip on everyone. And this movie is eventually quite unique and clever, but there's a hell of a lot of tired tropes and jokes in the setup. But also, Mom's dropping the ball here. Last night she nailed it when she told Dad he had to fix things with Katie. Now he's come up with this awful idea that robs Katie of a week of college fun with her new friends, and Mom is digging it. See the big picture, Mom.
She's not digging it though. You can literally see her face showing the "this is fine" expression. She doesn't think this is a great idea either, but if it fixes their relationship, then it's at least worth a try.
We called the school. You can miss orientation week. No problem.
Wait, what? I was almost willing to go with this nonsense as typical forced movie plot movement, but you pulled her out of orientation week? That's next level selfishness, and honestly makes me wonder if Rick is even redeemable at this point.
Rick doesn't understand Katie's life at this point, like how her movies entertain people, or how she can make genuine friends with them. So he believes this is the right thing to do. And then by the end, he does understand. I'd say he's redeemable.
Wait, they're private emails? That's a dangerous overreach of corporate power.
Tech CEO is a mustache-twirling villain who trades people's privacy for a fatter bottom-line truth. I mean, truth. Sorry. I'm trying to say cliche, but it keeps coming out weird.
But if you know that this feels realistic, then why is it a sin for the movie to be accurate? That's like saying it's a sin for Americans to speak English.
The world's first smart personal assistant.
This movie was made long after smart personal assistants were a thing.
Clearly not in this world. Like, you're aware this is a fictional story, right?
I love how in movies technology is like, well, we've got robots now, so I guess anti-gravity rays would also be a thing, right?
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. This movie does take place in 2020, and we still don't have robots this advanced. Why can't anti-gravity devices be a part of it?
Why is this drinking fountain continuously running? It clearly has a push button on the front that no one is currently pushing.
It could just be broken.
I need to speak to the manager. Ah! These dinosaurs are inaccurate.
Aaron would be excellent at roadside tourist trap sins.
I'm pretty sure you didn't sin Jurassic Park for the dinosaurs not having feathers.
You're not even trying.
Does the filter also somehow mute real life? Pure magicians working over there at Snapchat, huh?
Or it's simply for the audience? Or this is an animated movie that's already unrealistic?
Not only do they all survive this, not a single person is shown with a shard of glass sticking out of their cheek. It's a single grotesque flesh wound too much to ask Lord Miller.
Hey, there have been a ton of movies where characters go through glass and they don't get cuts. I feel like this is just a regular movie thing at this point. And I don't think the robots are planning to kill them in this moment.
3-point landings! 3-point landings. Maybe I got it right the first time.
Jeremy points things out on the screen cliche.
Now we're doing the, we found the thing that controls a robot on the ground, and now we use it to try to defeat the robot, but it will go comically thing from The Incredibles. How can a movie be super original and still steal bits and pieces from bunches of other Disney movies?
Hold on, this device doesn't control the robots. It's literally one of their arms that happens to have a cannon on it. How is this anything like The Incredibles?
Maybe this would be less horrifying with the cat filter.
This movie is hilarious, but I have to ask, if she's producing this documentary, where the hell is she getting all these shots from?
I think this is just Katie from behind the fourth wall that is doing this. Also, Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
Unless, of course, you can give me a single reason your species is worth saving.
Movie attempts the Noah story with a technology spin, but refuses to do the part where Noah is discovered by his sons naked and drunk after the flood, and Ham throws the pics up on Insta. Where's Aronofsky when you need him?
Referencing that stupid Noah movie.
There have been a couple of times when I have almost sinned this movie for having PAL create so much infrastructure and so quickly. But the truth is, when/if the singularity happens, we will not be ready for how fast AI changes the entire structure of the world around us. So, since this actually feels about right, I'll just tag another single sin on my sense of doom from the inevitable singularity.
What?
Somehow, the Mitchells are the very last people on Earth left uncaptured by the robots, because they hid in a freezer, and the robots overhead scanned and found no human. I guess no other humans tried to hide? Or was the cold the reason the robots couldn't... I can't do this with a straight face. The fact that this movie's protagonists are the only humans left uncaptured is a mathematical impossibility.
I was willing to accept that this is super unlikely, but you saying it's impossible is where I draw the line. It's not.
First, we use robot parts to disguise ourselves as the enemy.
Dire exposition, which is not nearly as gross as I just realized it sounds like it might be.
How is this exposition? This is literally Katie explaining her plan to infiltrate Pal's lair. You would think after you've pointed out exposition for so long that you know what it is. Wait, who am I kidding? You misuse Deus Ex Machina all the time.
Oh my gosh, the robots are defective.
It's true, and specifically in a way that makes them do whatever you say. And not just one of them, both of them in the exact same way.
Okay, and?
Glad those robots are gone.
Eric and Deborah Bot 5000 are so good in this movie, I'm not even going to slap them with a silly sidekick appears for comic relief cliche. Oh, I think now that I've said it, Cindy actually has to sin it. Well, just know I started this sin trying to give a sin off. Promise.
Dang nabbit.
Cutting your peanut butter sandwich into 4 squares instead of 2 triangles.
Hey, my mom did that.
Right, because these highly advanced robots have the ability to do just about everything other than...
I'm sorry. Listen to the way he says ability again.
Because these highly advanced robots have the ability to do just about everything.
Like, you seriously couldn't have done another take?
So this robot gets impaled conveniently, and then these other 3 just can't track objects in spatial permanence? Why the hell are they giving up right now?
Because it's blending in with the other parked cars? These are the same robots that didn't notice the tarp that looks like the road over this car.
Man, they signaled that they'd caught the last human ages ago, but the human delivery pods are taking forever to bring all those souls home.
There's still a lot of people in America alone.
Hello, and welcome, foolish humans.
Hola y bienvenidos, humanos tontos.
This will be the only part of this presentation spoken in both English and Spanish. The Spanish subtitles will continue, but the palgorithm apparently got bored with that joke real quick.
My personal guess is that they cut out the Spanish parts for the sake of the audience.
Also, why are these the 2 languages you chose? If this is a worldwide thing, why wouldn't each person just automatically have a version in their own language? This is literally something computers now could do, let alone this fancy version of an AI world where hexagonal compartment spaceships appear out of thin air.
This is just the American version of this video. There are likely other versions around the world that are in different languages.
Actually, you missed a few.
A YouTube comment seen on every single Sins video in the history of time somehow makes it into the script.
After doing these videos for a while, I can relate to this a lot.
Zebulon, scan those people for flaws.
Cowardly, weaker than a small bird.
It works better if you do them one at a time and make a joke about it and maybe follow it with a ding sound instead of a buzzer. Amateurs.
Or just simply make random jokes that have nothing to do with the content.
Who would have thought a tech company wouldn't have our best interest at heart?
Again, you're literally sinning the movie for being realistic.
None of this Night of the Living Appliances attack plan makes sense. First, PAL knew they were headed here, so why not just send a few hundred of her robot minions here to take care of business? Second, even if you go with the PAL-chipped appliances as your choice, why did they let them get all the way to the upload of the kill code before casually and dramatically revealing themselves? And finally, if all the appliances can be made sapient by the PAL chip, why not the actual PAL laptop they are uploading the kill code with?
There isn't a sticker on this laptop that suggests it was made by PAL, so that's why they couldn't do that. You think literally every single product in this mall has this function?
Bullshit. These Furbies all got out here in space perfectly like this with those tiny little waddle feet. Again, I say to you, bullshit.
I'd say it's even more BS that these Furbies are alive in the first place, but that's just me.
Papa Mitchell fires an arrow basically at his child's head.
This man has been trained with a bow and arrow clearly, judged by his wilderness experience. He's literally Katniss Everdeen here, since he hit the Furby here like how she shoots squirrels in the eye. Sorry, I still have some Hunger Games obsession left on me.
Using your tractor beam ray on the pulley system instead of the actual threat.
It worked though, right? And how do we know that it's even strong enough to carry something this big?
Arson.
Jeremy points things out on the screen, cliche.
As they drive towards Silicon Valley, I have to ask, why are they using headlights?
Dude, they have robots right there that can defend them if other robots attack them. And don't you know how dark it can get outside?
Are these killbots manifesting out of thin air? I swear to God, I'm adding 1,000 sins if someone even says the word nanobites or nanotech or nanonut muffins.
If I remember correctly, when you sinned Infinity War, you admitted that nanotech is a real-world science. So what's the problem? Sure, I doubt it isn't this realistic, but neither are robots that can levitate objects.
It's time to tear the Mitchell family apart.
She seems much too fixated on this family. Her goal is to rid Earth of humanity, and she's completed 99.99999999999% of that goal. This is like getting to the top of Mount Everest, but not feeling like you accomplished anything until you stand on your tippy toes up there. Is that the worst analogy I ever made? I think it might be.
Yeah, it probably is. But I feel like Pal would still want them dead because they could potentially stop her. You know, exactly what happens in the movie.
Now we're sneaking into the bad guy headquarters disguised as evil robots, and this is the Lego movie! And yes, I know about Star Wars, shut it.
But didn't they disguise as stormtroopers in Star Wars, not robots? Or I guess I should say droids? And hey, haven't said this yet, but arbitrary movie references.
This movie cares not the slightest about justifying its conveniences. Not only do Rick and Mark get seated right next to each other, but Mark just happens to be pepping himself up with Katie's movies at that very moment.
Somehow, I knew Jeremy would say exactly this while rewatching this movie. There was a scene earlier where Pal specifically said the Mitchell family would be near Mike when they launch into space, since Mike seemed confident that they'd save the world.
Since you believe in that family so much, I'll save a seat for them in the pod next to you.
No! I'm a full-grown cop now. And one day, I hope that you can get to know the cop that I've become. Because I love you, Sarge.
For a goofy YouTube video, this film certainly does take a turn towards very specifically serious and emotional themes that just so happen to be directly related to this moment in the plot, doesn't it?
It makes sense to me. Artists take inspiration from their real life and put it into their art all the time. I mean, heck, this movie was literally influenced by real-world experience with families.
Also, movie within a movie, skip!
But didn't you just demonstrate that you know exactly why this scene is necessary for Rick's character arc? Why are you now saying it's skippable?
Mama Mitchell, going full berserker, kicked this movie into an entirely new level of bonkers where logic is discarded and reality is obliterated. And somehow, I think I love it. Is there a line that movies can advance past where sins and dings reverse? Has Mitchells versus the Machines discovered the fabled lost city of Nibs?
Oh, what a relief. I legitimately thought you were gonna send this scene, knowing you. Thank you for doing the right thing.
I saw your movie. I should have watched it a lot sooner.
We do not have time for this!
They are in the middle of a life or death situation where one of them could literally die, so now's actually the best time.
I didn't realize this was based on a true story. You'd think I'd have heard something about this. Making the baby of the family the ugly dog certainly was a choice, though.
But that baby is Mike Rianda, the director of this movie, so he did that to himself.
We're not defective. We're not robots, just humans, yes, like you.
For example, we consume food in the traditional human manner. Observe. Yum, yum, good. Yum, yum, good.
See?